Well, again, I just want to greet everybody. And I just want to say that my church is right across the street, and I just appreciate, I'm always seeing these semis and all this work going on over here, and I'm tremendously proud, of course, Reverend Peavy, and all of you guys who make this thing happen. I'm telling you, you ought to give it up to yourself. So, I'm born and raised here in Benton Harbor. I left only for 2 years. I've been pastoring for maybe 15, 16 years throughout. I pastored 2 years in Dewajak, 4 years in Dewajak, 2 years in Dallas, Texas, and now I've been pastoring here in Bethel for 8 years. And so I just wanted to kind of get first of all, I wanted to hear from you guys, compared to Flint, how much worse is our situation here in Benton Harbor, and what would be the continued process of things as pipes are being fixed and things are being restored? What's to continue so that we can share this stuff with my congregation and other churches and spread the word throughout the city, because a lot of people still just don't know. They're in the gray. They just don't know. It ain't black and white. They're in the gray. They just don't know what to do and what to say or how to even though announcements are being put up about certain progress that we're making. It just seems like we don't always lock into that information. And so is there a way for us to make things easier for our citizens to understand? We might have to take Miss Emma's bottles and sit them out there so people can see that this is a real situation. You know what I'm saying? And so those are some of just my concerns, and just as a pastor, I also facilitate a jobs readiness program, and I want to help the community in any way, shape, or form. And that's why I'm here today. I'm drawn to this because it's not about me. It's about the community, and it's about us restoring and rebuilding the community. And so I guess my question to you guys, is there a way, is there a plan, is there something in place that as we get things fixed, that our community is being restored, and we're speaking to other situations that are going on in our community, like the gun violence and things of that nature that we also need to be dealing with. So we need to be a praying city. We've been a very reactive city instead of being proactive. And so proactive means we need to set plans in place and have procedures in place before things happen. But reactive is, now we're in a crisis of water, what do? We're scrambling to find out what needs to go on. And so, of course, I've had conversations with Deon Williams and others who have tried to talk us and help us be distribution points for bottled water for the citizens of Benton Harbor. But I'm here to help. I just want you all to know that we're just trying to come together and just do this thing the right way. And I believe everybody in the room wants to see a better Benton Harbor. I'll be 47 years old this year, and there have been some ups and downs throughout my life that I've seen in Benton Harbor. And I believe Benton Harbor has such a spirit of resilience about its citizens. The citizens are just resilient. We know how to bounce back. We've been in low places, but this was one that hit us really hard. And so as we're recovering, I guess I'm asking again, how do we keep the momentum going? How do we go from fixing our water to helping our schools, to helping our gun violence, to just the whole program being rolled out to us so that we can be successful as a city once again? Those are just some of my concerns.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the questions, and I want our team to come up after me at your perspective. On the question of Flint, is Benton Harbor worse off or better off than Flint? There's some differences, of course.
Okay.
Flint had GM.
Okay.
And once GM stopped using the water because it was corroding at parks, the bells and whistles went off all across the nation, corporations and business. That's a little different than y'all having that piece here. They also had, leadership there in Flint after the fact, not Flint after. And it happened under emergency manager. I want y'all to be clear, this is Simone's hypothesis that so goes democracy. First, your water. Once democracy is usurped, then they come for your water. They did it in Highland Park, they did it in Detroit, and then in Harvard. Water is a commodity. To privatize it and to be able to sell it is absolutely important. And the downside of that is, the downside of that, on the commodifying of water is that we watch the increases in water rates in our houses. And then usually that leads to other things, liens on property, you're behind in bills, and then gentrification comes right? People get moved out, other folks get moved in. So being mindful of all of the lessons of Flint, that's the thing I would say. Really study what happened when. For example, you have to be your own advocate. When you see water brown, the natural thing is to call city council, call the mayor, call the, hey, my water brown. But you're calling the very people whose job it is to be a steward over that water. So you call them in to tell them what they do and they working. Who's receptive to that right away? Right, so Flint go 14 months, we got brown water, there you go, before people start coming in. So what I say to you all, keep them when you can lift your message out. Bring in your outside partners, because the inside game, the inside game, you're talking to them, except for the exceptions that we've already talked about in this room. Generally speaking, in politics, when you go to the politicians to tell them what they're doing ain't working, they usually close ranks. They don't naturally open up and say, oh yes, you're right, what we voted on was wrong. They don't necessarily do that. So continue to do what Rev does. He brings in friends from all over. All your friends won't have money. We don't necessarily have a whole lot of money. We're a nonprofit too, but we have a whole lot of platforms. We have a whole lot of stages. We have a whole lot of access to media. We know people that from EPA, DOJ, Department of Ag, you name it, we know somebody. So making sure that we connect dots. We were already talking about you and what we want to do and connect and talk to you. Love what your idea. I told Rebecca, that sounds like a mobile, like water quality. We'll roll up and test your water and give you the data you need to then call the mayor and tell them the perks per million that you're suffering from. And we have to think about getting in that place where we're finding ways our own selves within our own community to find those answers. So you got the marketing and the communications folk, you got the science folk, you got the politicians, you got the faith leaders. We really have to create our own community. Y'all doing it though. Y'all already doing it. Y'all creating your community. See yourselves as experts. When I'm on calls, it's with people in high places with high titles, and they call themselves water experts, right? I tell them everybody in Flint is a water expert. I don't care what they degree or no degree, they're an expert in what it is to have to live with and navigate and deal with that issue. Recognize from Flint too, dealing with the water issue is one thing. But even dealing with the plastic residual of all the leftover bottled water, that's an issue. What are we doing with the plastics that now find their way in our community? But think of them, problems need solutions, but also opportunities for young people. We need young people minds around how to recycle and use plastic. What can we do alternatively? Have a contest. Who can make what out the most water bottles from a dress to a house? Like, figure out ways to get the baby's minds wrapped around water, air, habitat, right? Housing, because that's where we're gonna need their attention and their details. I talked about the network piece, that's so important. Making sure too that you put your plans out, put it in writing what you need and get it out there. Sometimes all you can do is yell. Sometimes you ain't got nothing else, so you're just yelling. And what happens is folks like us hear it. And then we take that yell and we turn it into a shout with a stage on it. So don't stop talking, don't stop pushing, don't stop demonstrating your expertise in this space. Y'all know how to hand out water filters. Like, so y'all know when the next community says, oh my gosh, we got a water problem, the first thing Rev say, well, do you got a high-low? You gotta have low because when the tractor trailer pull up with the water in it, you're gonna have to get it off of it.
That's right.
It's those real basic infrastructure things that y'all learn by doing. And so now y'all are experts on how to deal with water delivery. Hold the governor accountable, y'all. Hold the governor accountable. Don't let no politician smile their way through what y'all need. Speak truth to power. Be very clear on who gets aligned with who. A lot of times the people that get aligned with the politicians aren't necessarily the ones y'all would pick, right? Because that's true. They don't like the loudmouth folk or the folk who call things out or speak truth to power, so they'll hire black and brown people, but they often aren't the ones who will advocate till the end for what's necessary for what you need. This is election time. This is the time, because after folk get elected, they don't care what you say.
That's right.
And even after they get elected, all they're gonna do is create a task force. And I'm gonna tell you what a task force generally does. Well-intended in some cases and beneficial in some cases. But in many cases, a task force is empowered. My term is 4 years. I'm gonna empower them for 36 months, right? That's 3 years. So they're working, and that way I can tell you for 3 years, I'm working on it, I have a task force. I'm working on it, I have a task force. Then that last year when I'm running again for re-election, depending on what the task force found, I'll run on that or not. You see, that's just, it's a kick the can down the street type of thing. So it's important that y'all call those things out. Thank you for the task force. What else, however? That has not, call people on their record. That's so important. I'm loving looking at all this leadership with all these black men. I'm gonna stop and let Rebecca come up and I want Tatiana. Brothers, sisters, man, let me tell y'all how tired we are. Let me just be very clear. Black women are tired. We are tired. Yeah, I got you. And we always got you. You see, not only do we have you, we protect you, we come get you, we come show you.
Nurture.
And I'm not downing you. I am saying please continue and go deeper into the man you are. Stand up. Say something. And I'm gonna say this, even if you don't say nothing, because some of y'all, it's okay, don't say nothing, just be there.
Yeah.
But put a hedge of protection around the women and get somebody. And the babies. Don't leave us out here to our own devices where every willy-nilly can come and mess with us. Because if they mess with us, they mess with y'all. They mess with us, they mess with your food. They mess with us, they mess with your housing. They mess with us, they mess with your babies. And we know the other stuff if they mess with us, you're going to miss out on. So make sure that y'all find a way to be the man politically around these series of sisters who are standing up and doing the yeoman's job that we can. Rebecca, I'd love for you to come in.
Before you do that, let me say this
Please.
to everybody. You know, Flint had General Motors. We have the Benton Harbor Community Water Council. And by us having them, we put fear in them. You should see me on some of the calls I have with these people because I don't hold them up. You know, if they say something that's out of line, they're gonna hear from me. You see, and they know they tiptoe around me because I'm there to make sure I have a check and balance system with them, and it's for you guys. There's nothing more important to us than you guys, and this is where we fight, and we're going to continue to fight. We're going to protect our women and children. There's nothing more important than our women and children. That's our foundation. You know, we're supposed to be the backbone. You see? And I'm hoping by you guys work with me, you guys learn some of the ways I do things. Because it's important. And this young lady right here, we've been together so long, I don't even, you know, I can just call her and she'll come. So, we're here to help, find a way to help you guys and make this thing right. And we're going to do it right. And on that note, I got to turn it back over to you, because I think a couple of guys got to run.
Thank you. I'm gonna be quick. Rebecca Villegas is our senior program manager. Rebecca's gonna touch on some things she knows and has seen or suggested.
Absolutely, and I'm also a native of Southwest Michigan, so I heard Dowagiac somewhere. And I born and raised in Dowagiac, Michigan, and came back now and live in Pawpaw. So I'm in the region. I'm here as well. I'm a resource. And I just want to focus a little bit about the opportunity, right, that we have at hand. You've heard the news, the presence, the impact in terms of the funding that's coming through from the federal government, in terms of water infrastructure, for example. And so there's these buckets of money already in place. So just building off what Simone had mentioned, it's about holding now the state accountable, right? The money has passed from the federal government, we've done our due diligence in trying to make sure that the provisions, the policies that folks are actually able to benefit and utilize as opportunities, right? But now it's in the state. And we need to make sure, as we're continuing pushing environmental justice and making sure that communities that have been left out, that have been purposefully disinvested, like Benton Harbor for decades, that they're first in line to make sure that these opportunities actually reach folks. And that's what we're here for. We're here for to share information. We have a Clean Economy Coalition of Color that we've developed over the past year, where we constantly share information. We have a listserv, so please, I want to make sure we get everybody's contact information. We want to make sure that you're part of the listserv, so that you can continue to see what's out there, the news, the grants. And I'll tell you, a little secret as well, in terms of the folks in the federal government and the state. They're ready, they're hungry to want to help folks, but if you don't, there's one thing that, and Tatiana can talk a little bit more about this. We had a meeting with different federal agents, and folks, they need folks to submit these applications. They need folks in order to be able to support and help, right? And so what we're trying to do with our program is making sure that we not only share information, we share our platform and our resources, but also making sure that we're connecting the dots in terms of the capacity, in terms of the technical assistance that's needed to apply. And it's a lengthy process, right? In terms of making sure you got all the requirements, the reporting, but there's so many resources out there. Like, I can't tell you how many incubators, programs, opportunities are there that are waiting. They're just waiting to be tapped, in a sense. And what we're hoping to do is to connect those dots and to make sure that everybody is able to move forward in that direction. And so keeping up with us, I want to get your guys' contact information, like I said, so that we continue the conversation. And then also, right, there's going to be an opportunity to continue to refine these policies as well, because they're old, they're archaic, there's so many things that are just ridiculous that we're trying to make sure that we overcome. But again, I just want to end with, there's opportunity, there's funding, there's resources. Let's continue to connect the dots. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much.